Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's C and Z up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have a repeat guest and somebody who has helped many entrepreneurs that I know to become profitable. Now, let me explain this idea. If you run a business and you sell a product or service, that's good, because step one of entrepreneurship, you have to find a problem for your ideal and likely buyers. Step two, you try to sell them the solution. However, step three, you've got to make sure that you're making a profit. And so many entrepreneurs are passionately going 90 miles an hour in a circular fashion, making 360-degree annual life changes because they're not making any profit. And what you want to do is you want to build a business that allows you to create sustainable profitability. And the process of doing that requires you to put the profit first. And one of my clients I just spoke to today, Ryan Wimpy with Tip Top Canine, I just spoke to him today at 12 p.m. Central. He has implemented the system, the profit first method. And I work with probably a client every week or two at the Thrivetime Show that has implemented the profit first method and has really helped to change the lives of dozens of actual clients that I actually work with. And I know it's helped to change the lives of thousands and thousands of people that I haven't met because other people have maybe higher standards. But without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you, Mike Michalowicz. Welcome back onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a joy to be back. And I got to say, that beginning where he went, yes, yes, you reminded me distinctly of Marv Albert. He used to report for the Nets, and he'd say, like, Iverson going for 3, yes. He would do exactly that.
Well, I gotta ask you this here. Let's talk a little bit about the Profit First book, and then we'll get into your newer work you're working on. You don't come from obscurity into the well-known realm overnight. So tell everybody out there your path to going from business owner to business guru, author guy.
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur my entire adult life since college, built some businesses, exited, thought I was on top of the world. I knew how to sell companies. I was acquired. One of them was acquired by a Fortune 500, another private equity deal. And then I lost everything just out of pure ignorance and arrogance. The moment that changed everything was we lost our house, lost our cars, lost everything. My daughter felt compelled to save me and my family by volunteering her piggy bank to save us financially. And that was the reckoning that I needed to realize I had good luck and good fortune, but I didn't have a good acumen. And I endeavored, that was 15 years ago. I endeavored from that day forward to study everything about entrepreneurship, to selfishly serve myself and whoever is interested, that I can share it with them. That became the impetus behind all of my books. And that's why for the last 15 years, I study and teach entrepreneurship because I got to learn it.
Now, the one thing I would say, and I'm taking notes here, is if you're out there listening today and you're going, I just want to build a business that allows me to create time freedom and financial freedom.
Yeah.
You're maybe a little further down the path than the one guy who's like, I just want to work for myself. I'm so tired of working for the man. And, so there's excitement when you're working at Target or Applebee's or DirecTV, all the jobs I used to have. And you're saying, I want to be self-employed. And you're kind of just annoyed about the idea of working for somebody. But then eventually after about, 6 months or a year or whatever, when you get to a place where you're working 80 hours a week, operating on little to no sleep, and you have very little money to keep in your bank account, you start to look for a sustainable path. And I shamelessly recommend, without reservation, Profit First, a great book. I recommend everyone checks it out. However, you didn't stop after writing Profit First. So tell us about the next few books you worked on.
Yeah, so I wrote a book called Clockwork, which I'm now releasing the revised and expanded edition after learning so much on how to further simplify business operations. I wrote a book called Fix This Next. One of the biggest impedances a business owner has, that guy who left Applebee's to start his own business, is working on everything, which ends up fixing nothing. We need to do things sequentially. I wrote a book called Get Different. It's about marketing. It's the small business advantage. It's just differentiation. Don't try to compete with the big guys head on. Come at it a whole new way. I've written other books too, but those are some of my most recent works.
Now, what I find is most people who own companies, and I'm speaking from my perspective, but like today, I have a lot of members of my team who are wonderful people. They're behind me in the studio. I like them. They all have different visions or versions of what they believe to be urgent. So today somebody came in and goes, "Hey, just so you know, your Pyrenees dogs have escaped." And I thought that's par for the course. There it is. Okay, great. They would start Monday. Somebody else said, "Hey, I just want you to know we're out of paper towels in the bathroom." Somebody else says, "Hey, we have a conference this Thursday and Friday. Can my sister come?" So that's happening to me pre 7 a.m. The workday starts at 7 a.m. here. So yeah, I like to get to work around 5, organize my day, but pre 7, I've already got people going, "Hey, we're out of paper towels." Well, because they haven't been stocked yet. Hey, we're out. It just happens. What do you say to the entrepreneur out there that says, I want to make my business work like clockwork, but I'm just so bombarded by employee suggestions, even employees that mean well?
Yeah. So there's a difference between deciding and delegating, and yet we conflate the terms. So many business owners, myself, I'm delegating work when I'm really controlling outcomes, or assigning tasks is probably a better choice. I'm task rabbiting. A business that runs like clockwork that's independent of the owner is not the assignment of tasks to individuals, but the assignment of outcomes, which is a subtle but extraordinary difference. An outcome is agreed upon objective, but it's also the responsibility to navigate there. And listen, employees are trained. Go to the boss and ask what to do, because if you do, you're following instructions. That's a feather in your cap. If something goes wrong, it's the boss's fault. They told you what to do. And if it goes right, you follow instructions. So employees have been trained over the years, ever since we've been told to color within the lines, to follow explicit instruction and ask for the next step. So as a business leader, the owner, we have to unwind that and simply say, here's the achievement we're looking to experience. Do you agree to that? And if so, navigate your way there. When they come back with questions, our job is real simple. Don't answer the question, say, well, what's your decision about it? And support their decision-making. That's how empowerment happens.
Let's say you were sitting down with a guy today, he's a plumber, and he's giving you a total of 4 minutes to fix his business. He says, "I got 4 minutes, man. It's been a rough year, rough decade, rough couple decades, got a certain momentum to it. And I just give me 5 or 6 things I can do right away." And it could be book recommendations. It could be stop doing this, stop doing that. Because you've been around so many business owners that you see common patterns of jackassery that are destroying business success. Fire off what you believe to be a few of this, the critical, like, stop doing this would be your advice for the average person.
The first question I'd ask is, say, tell me about your worst customers, which is really a question you're asked. And you probably could rattle off 3 or 4 quickly. Oh, this person never responds. This one never pays their bills. And we would fire them. We'd stop doing service. The first thing we need to do is regain time. And those low-hanging, low-quality clients, I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're a bad fit for our business. If we get rid of them, it never, and I mean never, in one instance have I deployed this, compromise the profitability of an organization. It actually does the reverse. It amplifies it, and rarely does it even affect revenue. So now we got some time back. The next thing I do is ask, do you have a personal assistant? And if he said no, and that's what I expect him to say, I said, that's our first hire. Because our goal here is to afford more time to a specialist. The plumber probably is doing the work. And if he's also doing the invoicing, or if he's mowing his own lawn or caring for his own agenda, we can task that out to someone and avail him to doing the technical work. The next thing I would do is say, how profitable are you? And I'd expect a response saying, I'm living check by check. We go to his bank immediately, probably with his personal assistant to do this, and get one new bank account set up called Profit. We'd allocate 1% of income coming to Profit, and we'd hide it from him. It's inconsequential in how it affects the operation of his business. It's highly consequential. Perhaps for the first time, he'll see cash accumulating. And the last thing I would do is I'd schedule a 4-week vacation for this person. And I know that will cause potentially a heart attack. Like, are you kidding me? You're going to make me wait for 4 weeks? But what I found, Clay, is when a business owner can be removed from their business for 4 consecutive weeks without any physical or digital connection, the business must operate itself. Therefore, if we schedule this, I'm not saying tomorrow, but a year or 2 out from now, then it forced the hand of working on the business to operate itself. Because listen, he doesn't need a vacation as much as the business needs a vacation from him.
Now, you again, so I'm just recapping or making sure I'm not putting words in your mouth here. 1, you want to remove maybe negative clients, people that are just a drag on the business. 2, get an assistant or a right-hand person you can trust to knock out some of these action items.
Yeah.
3, in a way, kind of automate your savings, make maybe 1% just go into that bank account. And then 4, book yourself a vacation. And if you can't go on it, then it kind of forces you to work towards that distant goal. Am I correct there?
That's right. That's right. I remember back in grade school, we had fire drills and the alarm would go off and everyone stand up and walk out. When I was in 7th grade, we had a legit fire. The alarm went off. Everyone stood up. We followed the protocol. Every student got out safely because we rehearsed for it. It's called intentional disruptions. In our businesses, we never, I'm doing air quotes, most businesses never rehearse for a disruption. And the ultimate disruption is the removal of the leader from the business. So the business depends on you. It's not a question if you're going to take a 4-year vacation. It's a question of when. Is it going to be because of a physical problem, medical issue? Is it because you have to take care of someone else? But it is going to happen. So we need to have those fire drills for the business starting immediately.
Now, I don't get to have you on the show as much as I'd like, so I'm just going to drill into 90 miles an hour. It's going to be 90 miles an hour of just rapid fire questions. Next question I have here for you is a lot of business owners that I've consulted with, and I'm sure you have too, they always tell me they have an employee on their team who they can't trust. So if you watch Seinfeld back in the day, there was a weird rivalry between Seinfeld and Newman. You never really quite knew Newman. What the issue was with Newman and Seinfeld. And every business seems to have it. Newman, it's somebody who's always kind of, you walk by and they minimize the screen. And they say, hey, boss. Hi, Newman. Or they're they're always working on a project on the side. They have to leave early. Always have to leave early.
Yeah.
Always have to arrive pretty late. A lot of stories there. A lot of stories as to why they have to leave early, arrive late. And everyone in the office knows it. There's 40 people, there's 10 people. They all know who Newman is.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of business owners take a lot of their time and pour time into Newman. What are your thoughts on dealing with the Newman employee?
I think there's 2 approaches, and there's the ultimate hard decision of letting someone go, which I think a lot of people jump to right away, but that's a mistake. I first would work with the psychological component called psychological ownership. Psychological ownership is where someone is given possession of something, not legally, but in their mind, and they behave as if it's part of them. Here's an example. If you rent a car versus own a car, our behavior radically changes. I rent a car from Rent-A-Wreck. They do all this nonsense and they say, return it with, no scratches, clean interior, make sure that's full gas tank. They tell me with the rules I need to comply with. It's human nature. When we're forced to comply, we will seek to defy. So what do? I go in the parking lot, I do donuts. I munch down that gas pedal and I crunch on the brakes when a light hits. But I do the 3 requirements. When we give our employees responsibilities, they will comply and seek to defy. But we can give them psychological ownership. The thing about owning a car, and this is embarrassing, Clay. I went for a drive in my car. It was a 400-mile drive. It was a long journey. At the end of it, I patted the dashboard and said, good girl. And I'm embarrassed about it, but I care for the car because I own it. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't legally own it. The bank does. I'm making my installments. So I don't legally own it, but I have a sense of ownership. So we need to deploy ownership. And how do you do that? You give people, first of all, a title of owning something. So you own this now. This is yours to control and direct. The second thing is you give them the ability to gain intimate knowledge, understanding of it. And perhaps most importantly, you give them the ability to personalize it. They get to put the dice over the rear view mirror or something. And that will start triggering psychological ownership. Here's the indicator. If that employee says, oh, this is my company or our company, they're demonstrating psychological ownership within the company. If they say it's your company or that company, they are disconnected. So I want to seek that out first. Now, that's just this behavioral component. The other part is much more methodical or tactical. I sit down and say, listen, are you performing to the level that you expect of yourself? And if not, let's have a conversation around it. They say, yes, I am. Say, well, you're not performing to the level we want. So there's a disconnect here. Let's discuss it and see if it can be resolved. If they say they're not performing at their level, say, what can we explore here? Because I want to support you in this. So they're going to determine by their response if it's a supportive discussion or if it's a confrontation conversation. And then you have the conversation accordingly and document, here's the steps we're going to do to improve, and you put the metrics behind it. Here's the time frame, here's the expected outcome, and hopefully they're co-developing it with you, which is a form of psychological ownership, and they're more likely to comply. If that fails, here's the key about terminating someone. No one on this planet should ever be surprised that they got fired. And sadly, that happens all the time. It comes out of left field for them. if you go through this process of confrontation, trying to support them and give them direction, and they fail to comply with that, they'll know that termination is the next necessary step.
Now, let's go back to your new book here. Now, there's so much wisdom you have. I want to talk about this the updated book here, this Clockwork, Revised and Expanded. Why did you decide to revise and expand it?
Well, so because we had enough readers, we had about 70,000 readers go through the book and give feedback, not all of them, but a portion of them. And we have a service arm behind it. We had our 1,000th student go through the Clockwork program. And I started hearing back feedback. I was like, oh my gosh, I am confusing people in certain sections. I had one person tell me, I love the book, I want to deploy it, but I don't want to show my employees because they'll know that I am getting all the benefit. I'm going on 4-week vacation. I was like, my gosh, that's not the goal at all. We want the employees engaged. In fact, this is an empowerment mechanism. So the book now has every section, every chapter has a section just for the employee. Systems that were too complex and I didn't realize it have been simplified further. At the end of the day, it's 60% brand new content. I hope it's 100% simplified for the readers.
Now, with you as an entrepreneur, I believe, and why I love having you on the show, is that you're passionate about helping people to achieve success. How do you define success? Like, how do you personally define success?
Well, for me, success is, am I living a happy life? Sadly, I just returned from a funeral on Saturday, so 2 days ago from this recording. It was a really difficult experience, except the person who passed way too early in life, she was in her 50s, prepared videos because she knew she was terminal. And she shared story after story, and I've never experienced this at a service, on the screen of what she's grateful for and what she accomplished. And of the 1,000 people, there's literally 1,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
I would say a dozen friends were invited to come up and share their stories. And they said how much Ruth contributed to the community, how joyful she was, how happy she was. To me, she's the definition of the ultimate success. I don't think she ever had any business endeavors, but she's a successful human.
Yeah.
I think we as entrepreneurs have the ultimate platform for caring and expression. You know, Clay, you have a platform that touches so many people. I, through my books, can touch so many people. I think it's the ultimate responsibility to be of service. And if that service brings happiness, that's the win. I also believe we should be profitable because profitability translates to sustainability. I think money is a great thing. I don't think money is the root of all evil. I think it's the root of all sustainability and of service. So I want the good guys to win by being very profitable. And I want everyone to define success, I think, by being happy.
Let's look at the average entrepreneur's daytimer for a second. Okay. I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they come to our workshops. I'm sure you meet them as well. And one of the things I hear a lot, maybe you don't, but I hear it. I hear a lot of, I don't have enough time.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I only work with 160 clients. So the cool thing about my life is I only work with 160 clients. And so I kind of look at it as like, I'm like a pilot and I'm flying and I have the same 160 passengers every flight. So I get to know everybody. And I've kind of, that's the footprint I'm very comfortable in, where you have reached thousands upon thousands of people, but both of us kind of see these patterns. I hear people say all the time, I don't have time. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what advice you would give for the entrepreneurs out there that, you know, are not sitting around doing nothing, but they feel like they never have time to get the most important things done.
Yeah. You know, I think the comparison here is you're flying the jet and with his 160 passengers, I'm flying a jet that's just going over the ground. So I'm whizzing by people.
Got it.
You have deep contact. And for me, unfortunately, it's very surface level. So it's momentary flashes. What I see in that theme of I don't have enough time is I'm choosing not to prioritize. In fact, most people prioritize activity, physical activity or action over thinking. And what's crazy is thinking is harder to do. It's a bigger caloric burn. We know that. Thinking can result when it's really concentrated and over time, it can result in significant change. A couple right decisions can change and transform a business forever. There's been interviews of CEOs. I remember one from Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos says, I get paid so much money because I make 4 to 5 critical decisions every single year. The rest of the time is pondering and planning and going in his penis-like shaped like rocket ship, but each his own. So we, as owners of the business, need to spend more time thinking, and we need to prioritize it. I block out that time. And it is hard to do because when I'm in the office here and someone walks by, like, why is Mike sitting there twiddling his thumbs? I'm crunching thoughts. I'm writing on my notepad. And it's inevitably out of that thinking work gets done. And if I'm just doing the busy work, responding to emails and doing things, I see activity in the moment, but it never pushes my business forward in a significant way.
Now, okay, let's say you're sitting down with an entrepreneur and I have my own, my flow. I like to go to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 3. That's what I love. I love 9 p.m., 3. That's my thing. Everyone has their own thing. Some people like to go to bed at 10, wake up at 5, 6, 7. Some people like to go to bed late, wake up. But if you could design the perfect ideal schedule for an entrepreneur, if they said, listen, I'm open slate, baby. I just struggle getting things done and I'm trying to prioritize and make a new schedule. I'll follow whatever you say for 6 months. Just tell me what to do. What would be the ideal schedule for an entrepreneur that you would recommend?
I don't know if the timing works, but I'll share my timing, but I do know the components that work. The number one element to business success that must be done every morning is actual exercise, real exercise. And so many people are like, I gotta get to work. But the only way we can sustain the drive necessary is by being in tip-top physical, cardiovascular, and physical health. So here's the routine I do. I get ready for bed starting at 8, lights out by 9. I don't get up at 3. I get up at 5:30 because I need 8 hours. Extra half hours because I'll probably wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or something like that. I track the metrics explicitly. I then believe in doing the core activity of your work responsibility first. So from 5:30 to 6:30 every morning, weekday morning, I am writing for an hour. Not journaling, writing for the work I do. I think that's actually my most heightened mental state. Then from 6:30 to 7:30, it's a workout. Then I eat, shower up, and I head over to the office. I remember that commercial, I think it was about the Army, says we get more done by 8 a.m. than most people in a day. I think we should set that standard. Ben Franklin said, right, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I believe that principle plays out. Then I think we should tackle our biggest, most important project of the day, which is for me, it's usually a project that plays out over weeks or months. I tackle that first thing in the morning when I have the highest energy. There's no question decision fatigue starts setting in. So I try to make critical decisions in the morning and stuff like that. Then I institute breaks. Actually, about a half hour before this, I just finished a call. I went for a walk around the block here outside of our office just to get some fresh air and to have some physical activity. And then repeat. I also believe one more thing that you need to schedule at least weekly, but perhaps even more frequently, is a one-on-one meeting with every employee. Now, if you're a small company, we have 10 people in this office. My 2 companies combined, we have 22 employees. And I'm one of them, so we have 21 other folks. We're itty-bitty. Every employee I meet with, or my colleague now, meets with every single day of the week just to say, how's life going? How you're doing? How can we keep pushing your life forward through your career? And we've never, as a result, had to have a check-in or review, the annual review. We don't do an annual review. We do a weekly check-in, which constitutes annual review. That has been transformative in our culture and the productivity of our employees. So I'd institute that one-on-one also.
Final question for you here. The marketing move the move that, Kevin McHale, his whole career, I mean, he had the pump fake, boom, boom, fake, fake. He had a move. There's a lot of NBA players that have done pretty well with a nice floater, nice 3-point shot. They got to move. Some guys have multiple moves, but if there's a marketing move, you're sitting down with an entrepreneur, you're going, hey, here, buddy, here's a couple moves. I'll give you a couple moves. You're at the airport talking business with a guy you've never met before. And he's going, man, I'm doing about $2 million a year. And I'm just trying to get the, needle up there for my cabinet business, for my home remodeling. For my, what is a marketing move or moves that you'd recommend for everybody?
So first step is to find out your best clients, where they congregate. And the great thing about your best clients is they're a gateway in. They can make introductions and so forth. We want to market in concentrated areas. We can't afford as a $2 million business to do broadcast marketing. We can't be on the Super Bowl and have a commercial, but we can concentrate that area. The second thing is I then ask in that community, how are they being marketed to? So I look at what everyone else is doing and I disrupt it by doing something new. Those are the 2 key steps. And the last thing is measure. Marketing isn't something we just send it out and say, oh, it sounds good. Let's do more of it. It didn't work. Test it out to see what's working. So start off small. We usually test about 100 targets. We're actually doing a new campaign next week that we're just developing now. We're going to try out 100 people and we're going to see what the results are. If 10 respond, that's 10%. Now, it doesn't mean it's indicative of the whole community, but 100 prospects is just enough, at least in a case of many service businesses, to get a taste of how the community will respond. And then we'll start investing more heavily on something that works and we'll adjust on something that doesn't. By the way, most things don't work and need to be adjusted until we find the thing that works.
And final question, I guess, final bonus, Fry. What's the website people can go to if they want to learn more about you and your books and all the updating training you're providing? Where can they go?
MikeMotorbike.com. So here's where not to go, MikeMichalowicz.com, because A, you can't spell it, and every author does that. So in getting different, I was like, well, what's my nickname from grade school? That was the only G-rated nickname I had. It was Mike Motorbike. The other ones are not repeatable on air. And if you go to MikeMotorbike.com, all my book chapters are there. You can download and check them out. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal for a couple of years. You can get those articles. Plus, I have a podcast too.
MikeMotorbike.com.
Mike Motorbike. Yep.
Mike, I'm typing in Mike Motorbike.
Bike. Yeah, and check out the website when it comes up. You'll get a little Easter egg of me.
Oh, I see it. That's hot. Okay, Mike.
Riding my chopper.
Awesome, bro. I appreciate you, Carbon. I'm looking. I'm enthralled. This is amazing. MikeMotorbike.com. Mike Michalowicz, thank you for joining us. I encourage everyone to check out your newest book. I put a link to it in the show description. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you.
It's been a joy, brother. Thanks, Clay.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, Thrive Nation. I know that a lot of you watching this show on a consistent basis or listening to the show have a business or have aspirations to grow a business. And if you're not careful, your business can own you rather than you owning your business. You might find yourself at a place and space where you work all the time and you have no time freedom, although you earn financial freedom. And I know for anybody out there that's never owned a business before, the idea of achieving financial freedom itself may be very exciting. But if you achieve financial freedom and you don't have any time to enjoy that, the question is, what was the point? And so on today's show, we're going to be joined here with an actual thriver, an actual longtime client who's been able to achieve a time freedom to build a sustainable schedule that he loves. And here to share the story is Nick Holman. Nick, welcome on to the Thrivetime show. How are you, sir?
Thank you for having us.
Hey, Nick, what's your website for anybody out there who wants to verify you're not a hologram?
HolmansCabinets.com, HOLMAN.
Okay. HolmansCabinets.com.
Yes, sir.
And where are you based there, sir?
We're in Sparta, Tennessee. We cover the middle Tennessee area.
And how long have you been in that area?
We've been here nearly 40 years. My dad started the company when I was just a little kid.
Awesome. And so you did your dad kind of mentor you in the ways of cabinetry?
He did. I grew up from a little kid doing the business. I didn't plan on doing it, didn't want to, but it ended up that way, and I really enjoy it. The Lord's really blessed me.
Now, how did you initially hear about us and what we do in terms of growing businesses?
I was listening to a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire, and
cool.
Heard you interviewed on there, and just sought you out.
Well, one thing that we've had a pleasure of working with you on and so we've enjoyed is we here at the Thrivetime Show, we call them diligent doers is who we work with. People that frankly are hardworking and all they want to know is, what do I need to do? The best way I would describe it, or kind of analogous way, would be if you're going to the grocery store, we've all been to the grocery store where there's somebody at the store who has no intention of buying anything. We've all been to the mall where we've seen somebody who doesn't want to buy anything. They're just hanging out. And there's a lot of people that kind of view entrepreneurship like that. They're entrepreneurs. And there's other people that actually are entrepreneurs. They actually implement. We call those diligent doers. And Sean's had the pleasure of working with you.
Oh, yeah.
And Sean, so tell listeners out there, what kind of big improvements have you and Nick worked together to implement within the company, HolmansCabinets.com?
Yeah. So I've actually had the pleasure of working with Nick for several months here, but he has worked with several different consultants in our program. Yep. So by the time I got to him, I'm just going, hey man, what is your biggest limiting factor? And at the time he's saying, I'm pretty close to this ideal schedule, but there's about 15 hours on my schedule of stuff that I don't feel like I can delegate, but I'm kind of stuck there. So it's been probably 3 months or so, Nick, that we've been working at trying to get those hours off your schedule. It was more of a high level task that we systemized week by week, working on training employees and refining the system itself. And that's now resulted in Nick having that time back to use for other things.
Now, Nick, before we worked with you, how would you describe where the business was at?
I was all over the place, very, very busy. I worked about 80 to 90 hours a week, never home, running, doing jobs, working late at night at home with my laptop, drawing cabinet jobs, quoting cabinet jobs, and just really had no free time whatsoever.
And so now how would you describe your schedule versus how it was then?
A little bit laid back. I've even found myself bored a time or two, and that doesn't last long. I've always can find something to do, but I'm looking at other business ventures, which I'm into different things and excited about that. and have a little bit more time with my family. Of course, I love that free time. I've got 4 children the Lord's blessed me with, and some time to do ministry work that God's allowed me to do. And all of this is because of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But I just thank him. Thank y'all for the time that I've gotten back to be able to do that. And it just frees up so much time, the time freedom. I don't nearly need it financially, but the time is invaluable.
So if you could describe for anybody out there that's listening, what was the process like that we've kind of guided you through? What are some of the improvements that you've made in the business?
Well, the first thing y'all did, of course, was the website, and you started encouraging me to get Google reviews. We're the highest rated cabinet shop in the state of Tennessee now.
Come on now.
And it's just been a blessing to see people call and they say, well, I said, how do you find us? Well, we seen your reviews. They're just unbelievable. The video reviews. And then also me training, I guess the last few months is hiring and training new people. I did not think that I could ever get anyone to replace a lot of what I was doing in measuring and learning all the different options of cabinets, appliances, the different ins and outs on different houses, different ins and outs of different cabinet options, with whether it was custom or prefab or semi-custom, all of those different things. I didn't think I could train anyone, and it's been possible to do that. And now I've got 2 guys that are doing that. It's just really relieved a lot of my time. The hiring, the group interviews, doing that has really been helpful. Delegating and being able to train and writing down a process of how they can go through and learn what I'm doing. And it answers a lot of their questions before they ever have to ask me, with what we've written down, I can't think of the term of it right now, the schedule and how they're to do that. It's just made it so much easier.
So let's talk about the branding for a second. When we first started working with you, did you already have a website in place, or did our team have to help you with that? Or
we did have a website. We redesigned it and made it much more Google canonical, where Google could read it better. And of course, the reviews and all that, and y'all are writing on the back of it all the time. And it's been a lot more profitable when people look up our website all over Nashville now, even in that we're almost 2 hours away. Yeah. People call us all the time from Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin, and then even in our areas, it's constant because of our website.
And before we started working with you, how many web leads would you get maybe in a given month versus how many are you getting now?
I'll look up off the top of my head. I don't know, but I know that I don't know. We're getting on average 8 to 10 a week now. I probably got 1 to 2 a week before.
So maybe 4 or 5 times more leads.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's become, I was looking at the tracking sheet before we hopped on here, and it's actually this year, 34% of all of your leads have come from that. So that's a significant amount. Yeah.
Now, what we try to do on the Thrivetime show is for anybody out there that goes to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on the testimonials button. No exaggeration. I'm just going to show this here. We have over 2,000 client success stories on video. So if you go back and watch some of these people, you'll go, wow, that was 10 years ago. Wow, that was 5 years ago. Wow, that was 6 years ago. And the reason why we do that is it inspires confidence in potential buyers. Somebody watching this show today might go, well, you know what? This seems credible. The second is we want to build the faith of an entrepreneur, not in a religious sense, in a biblical sense, but the faith that they can do it. How has that aspect, the coaching or the mentorship, helped, having somebody that is showing you, hey, this is a proven path. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. We've been coaching clients since before search engine optimization was a big thing. Now we're doing it that, now that search engine is a big thing. We did it before social media was a big thing. Now that it is a big thing, we're still doing it. How does it help? How has it helped you knowing that you're following a proven path and not moving just off of guesswork?
It's been tremendous. Just having a plan. I can follow a plan if that plan's laid out. And you could see that. I could see that with other people. You had another cabinet shop that was doing the same thing, I think in North or South Carolina you were working with. I seen that, and I thought I can do this. And then having that same plan from learning from y'all, taking the same thing and being able to teach my guys in much the same way. and they're picking up on it and learning it. And it's teaching one that's teaching another. And it's passing that along. It's been tremendous.
Now we've worked on the online reputation, online reputation enhancement, gathering Google reviews, video reviews on your site. One thing that's been nice, and I've heard about this through the coaches, is you guys do a good job. And it turns out that matters. And I hate to say this, but I've worked with a lot of restaurants in the past where when we start, we go in through I have a proven process I take people through. So if somebody schedules a 13-point assessment with me, I hop on the phone call with them, just like I did with you there, Nick. And I try to go over, okay, I want to ask them, what kind of revenue did you do last year? What kind of revenue did you do the year before? How would you rate your website on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best? How would you rate your branding? How would you rate your accounting? We go through all these systems, and I've worked with a lot of restaurants who've said, the one thing though is our food's terrible. And, so when people show up, they typically leave mad or upset. And you guys have always done a great job. And we would call that the quality control loop. And so when we go to your website here, you guys have gathered testimonials. How has having video testimonials from actual clients impacted you?
When people call all the time, they say your testimonials are unbelievable. And that helps set us apart from all the other shops that don't have that. And I'm friends with a lot of the other shop owners, and we do 10 times more than most shops around us. Yeah, I think it's due to the reviews. It's due to the testimonials. They can look us up and see that we're credible. Some of my workers came on board because of the reviews, and they saw the credibility that we had among other people, and they wanted to be a part of the team because of the great work and the satisfied clients that we have.
Now, if we go to the bottom of your website, we do ongoing search engine optimization for you, which is kind of a big task that if we do it right, no one knows we're doing it. It's kind of like pulling the weeds in a garden. I see so many inspired patriots. They say, Clay, I planted a garden. I was so inspired by your wife. Woo! And then I'll see them, a couple months later, and I'll say, how's the garden? They go, don't talk about it. Didn't weed it. Didn't feed it. It's dead. Going with a rock garden, baby. A rock garden. So there's an ongoing pruning that has to. We have to run the online ads for you, manage that. We have to get the search engine going, optimization. Then we have to track what we're doing on a weekly basis and track. How has tracking implemented you, just knowing that all these things are happening behind the scenes?
Well, you can continually see where you're at and what you need to improve on. And what you're doing well at, and see how it's growing. It's just, I love the numbers. I love to see the numbers and see how you can track that, and it just continues to increase, or say, hey, I need to work here on this area because we're having some problems in this area, and that helps you to see that and what you need to work on. And that's what Sean's really helped me to do each week, and he points those things out to me. And but it's easy to fix once you know what the issue is. But if you don't know it, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to work on.
Now, one thing that blew my mind years ago is I had a chance to interview the NBA Hall of Famer and fellow Christian, David Robinson. And David Robinson was jacked. And if you're watching this show and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna pull up this video here, pull up this photo. He was so jacked. He was so physically fit. And do you remember this?
If you Google David Robinson jacked.
David Robinson just jacked. I mean, this guy he was huge. And I remember talking to Dave off camera and then some on camera. I'm like, Dave, how did you know, that it was time to retire? Like, how did you know? I mean, it was time to go. When did you know it was time to go ahead and retire? And he said, Clay, I was hitting the weights every day at the peak of my career. I mean, every day. He's like, I'm in the gym, never cheating on my diet, following my diet, always hitting the weights, just
those guns.
It's the consistency. And it wasn't that he had this super complicated workout program. It's the consistency. And the Bible speaks to this a lot. It's called Proverbs 10:4. For anybody out there that hasn't read the Bible in a while, Proverbs 10:4 says, he who has a slack hand becometh poor, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. And that's the one thing that I have found over the years that I cannot really train. I can show people, but today I woke up at 3, I came into the office about 5:30 today after organizing my day, hopped into our staff meeting at 6, and it's every single day. Can you talk a little bit about the diligence of maybe having a coach, if that has helped you, or as far as, or maybe your dad taught that to you, or just a consistency of putting in the work every day?
Yeah, my dad did teach it to me. I wasn't raised in church or anything like that. And literally, my dad worked 7 days a week. We had a cattle farm with about, at one time, 500 head of cattle, the cabinet shop, and we had a tree nursery. So literally, Dad worked 7 days a week. And so I grew up with that diligence and just have brought that into my work life. And I enjoy work. Work is fun. I'm very hyper and energetic, and I'm always doing something. My mind never shuts down, so it's hard to sleep sometimes. And so just being a diligent doer, which is a biblical principle I've carried over into my work life, and even in other businesses, the Lord's truly blessed because of that. But sometimes, that can go the wrong direction too much if you're if you're too busy in the areas you don't need to be in. But all of this helps to organize that and to free up some time where you're not too involved in that. And I've been told all my life, you don't have to spend so much time in work, and you can balance that out. Well, this has helped me balance that out, because there was no way I could have kept going the way I was and it ever worked out. It's freed up so much of my time and allowed me to have really a more balanced life, to be more biblical in my life as a husband and as a father, as a Christian, as a church member. It's helped me to balance my life in every area.
So it could be safe to say you're getting, 5 times more leads and working 5 times less.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful success story. Now, have you guys started documenting all the checklists and systems on the back end of the website yet? Is that something you guys have tackled yet?
No, but that's something that's coming right up here. Just getting them all organized on the website for the employees to be able to access those systems.
Well, I would just say this, just housekeeping note. Mm-hmm. When we hop off here, maybe you guys can hop on a call real quick. Okay. I'd love to book a 13-point assessment with you just to touch base on a few things. Because what's happening is a lot of our clients, I'll just give the listeners an example. This would be a Tip Top Canine, and they are a franchise, and they're a client that I've helped to franchise. And I think they have 16 locations open maybe now. I'm probably getting that wrong. Maybe it's 17 now. But they're all over the country. They've got different locations on the Tip Tops. And one of the things that has to happen is as the company begins to grow, it's, we have to come up with a system to organize the systems. To organize all the documents so that everybody can find them. Mm-hmm. And there's so many core documents they've made over the years. And it's like, we've got to be able to find those quickly. If someone's looking for the system for how to train a German Shepherd, or how to write up an employee, or how to find the core values document, or how to find the goal sheets, or how to find the insurance processes, or the intake checklist, or the boot camp checklist, or the closing progression, or the sales manual. We have all those documents organized in one place, and that really does help. And so we get off, I'd love to book a time. Yeah. So you and I can hop on a call, and we'll talk about kind of phase 2.0 as we take you from time freedom to maybe opening up multiple locations or scaling or whatever it is that you want to do. But thank you for carving out time for us today. Sure. And for anybody out there that's listening who's contemplating scheduling a free consultation by going to thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire. That's thrivetimeshow.com/EOFire, or thinking about coming to one of our in-person business workshops. What would you say to them?
I would encourage you to do so immediately. It would free up your time and give you more freedom. And I'd encourage them to contact Clay Clark, Sean, Thrivetime Show, and come to one of those business meetings.
And I will say this too, housekeeping note, a final note here. Our consulting at $1,700 a month. So everybody out there listening saying, what do you guys charge? It's $1,700 a month, 1,700 per month. It's all month to month. And we have business conferences, and we have VIP tickets and general admission tickets, and we make it affordable for everybody. And we have scholarship tickets so everybody can afford to go. Thank you so much for carving out time here. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Great job.
The Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet. You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.